What's going on, legend? But welcome back to Beyond the 90. If you notice why my voice is gone, I was at the match yesterday and finally getting some time to record in the morning. I was just so knackered and the voice didn't hold up at all last night. So, again, what happened in the game? I'll go through some analysis, go through some of my thoughts. There's some really interesting things that I picked up here and there I want to pick on. Maybe the cameras didn't see. And I want to mention some specific things. Overall, we'll get into it because, again, as the cliche goes, it was a game of two halves. And massive difference between both of them. Initially, before we kicked off, when we looked at the scores, and again the formation was there, and I was thinking, oh, okay, that's a four. Wait, where's Ricardo? So for those you didn't know, again, there was a debut start for two players for Leicester City. Diego Reed, obviously, he's got Premier League experience before, and Savo Buonanotte. We'll get into some of the individual players and how they played in a second. We set up like this. So it was a 4-2-3-1. Skip didn't manage to get it, even though he was signed on the day. I tried to do a video on it on Sunday, and it backfired because some of you noticed there was absolutely no sound. I've checked this one. Hopefully, there's sound now. Disadvantage when you're recording on your own. You got to do all your pre-flight checks yourself. Anyway, coming into this is how we set up. Now, there was one big omission so again, Vardy, great to see him back. If Vardy's fit, he should start, he should play. I think everybody agrees. Diego Reed had his first start. Buonanotte had his first start. We'll get into again some of the specifics. For Tawu, again, Wilfred and Diddy and Winks as a double pivot. Then a back four of Christensen, Vestergaard, Fast, and Justin. No Ricardo in this, which I thought was really interesting. And I could tell you where I think Ricardo could fit into this system in the future. Now, you're probably going to think that's going to be fullback's position. But I'll tell you why I'd probably keep them both there in this team going forward. So looking at this, obviously Ricardo is probably the main missing, and obviously Hermansen as probably our strongest goalkeeper in there, even though Danny Ward and Iverson were both training during the warm-up as well. During the warm-up, we saw that with this position, Casper, those you remember, Casper used to boot the ball from one goal to the next and just try and get it into the position. And that was his ball, just straight over, long ball, long ball, long ball. And that's maybe why the fans enjoyed the long ball so much. Casper may potentially was part of that. What they did differently is they set up Hermansen was there, and he had one keeper basically where the imagine where both wingers would be out wide. Like if we were imagine like a Endem Rescue system. They were playing both keepers out there, and he was just pinging balls into them and positions again and again. I'll get onto Manson in a second. I think he had a good game overall. That's safe for everybody in the game. But let's get into it because before the kickoff, and I was going to do this in my pre-season prediction, but as you probably see from the sound, again, it didn't work. But I predicted us to probably lose 2-3-0 in the game. I didn't think we would create very much, and that was proved right in the first half. Just in general, we were dominated. The first 5 minutes, I believe, we conceded about 5 shots on target. Genuinely, it was a vast amount, and Did he save one off the line? We had Manson pulling off some good saves. I'll be honest, throughout the game, if Solanke finds his form that we know he can do from last season, he's scoring a lot of goals this season. And I give you some highlights because again, it massively improved. But I want to get on some of the negatives first. The first 10 minutes we were barely hanging on, didn't have any possession of the ball. Just kind of the team. It was boys against men, and that's the nice way to put it. The difference between the Championship and a team like Tottenham, who again are pushing for what European spots, maybe even top 4 this season. It was clear to see, and there was a lack of belief. I just felt it. They were cutting through the midfield easy. And Madison, for them, was running the game. And I just want to mention that again, he was running the game. We were quite lucky in a sense that a couple of players from Tottenham, in my opinion, were off. Solanke being one of them. As you can expect, probably not had that much training with the team. He's just had that transfer for 65 million. Son wasn't at his best. Son, when he plays, is an unbelievable player. And when he goes on those runs, he just doesn't stop. He wasn't on it tonight, and thank God. I think we could be a little bit lucky. The fact that we're going into that half time, we could have been 3 down. We were poor. We were turgid. We played some good things, I think, and most of the players when we came off at half time were not. We tried, but it just didn't. It lacked belief, and I think that's the best way to say it. We had I'm trying to think. In terms of possession, we had barely any, and there was just throughout the pitch in terms of people that were starting. Um, Buonanotte was finding himself in good positions. There wasn't a team. There was individual moments of brilliance, but they were here and there. They weren't consistent throughout the game. That changed in the second half, but I just want to mention that. Hermansen, just want to get into it through the players individually. Hermansen at times again made some great saves, and at times where his way is still to play the Enzo way. I think a couple of times he lost the ball. Like, oh, he's played through the middle and he lost the ball immediately. In this formation, we don't get the best out of Hermansen. And I think it might be a season where it's all hands on deck. Let's see what we can hold on to. And that means there's a couple of casualties. One of them, Ricardo, is, and I love Ricardo. I think he's a phenomenal player, and I'll show you how I think he gets into the team going forward. And another player is Hermansen. He wasn't. He was kind of joining in at times. Fass and Vestergaard were holding that position, and within the first 20 minutes, I just noticed Vestergaard looked absolutely soaked, ran into the ground, and I was thinking, how's it going to last? Is he going to be substituted? We're going to make some rotations. We need to try something out. He was absolutely soaked. Fass again in the first half. Vestergaard were I think overall it was a 5 out of 10 performance, maybe 4 out of 10 from everybody. There's a few moments of brilliance. Vardy didn't really get any touch to the ball. Vital was trying, but bearing in mind, he's still got time. I think he will keep his position. Decote Reed, I don't want to slate the dude. I just don't remember anything from him in the first half. He got the ball in some good positions. There was some lovely sometimes 1-2 passes. I'll think about actually more second half, to be honest. The pressing wasn't really there from us. We were playing a 4-2-3-1, as you probably saw. However, we're giving Buonanotte an opportunity just to give him that free role where he can pop up in different positions. Also, when it comes to this, something that we notice again, this is not how we played most of the game. We played most of the game like this, as a straight back 4-4-2, like this. One person I have to kind of single out, and I don't want to, I kind of have to. Winks did lose some balls in some areas, but the main culprit, in my opinion, was Wilfred and Diddy. Going forward, if we are going to play a formation, we have to turn over possession quickly, and we're gonna have to pass in a good way. And unfortunately, Diddy lost the ball a lot throughout the first and the second half. So we set up like this, basically most of the match. So in Diddy, again, I do have my doubts about him. I don't think he had a great game. Yes, he made the goal line saving, but I can show you how we can potentially make the best out of him as well going forward. If we were to play this formation, we were played again. Vardy didn't have anything. Christensen, I think overall, I was super surprised at in a positive way. First of all, I didn't realize how built he was. Second of all, I think he's kind of made for his position. At times when Hermansen had the ball, he was pushing up. Reed was coming inside. Christensen was pushing really high up. And he gives us that physicality. That's something that Ricardo has more in the technical aspect. And I think that's the difference with this team. And I'll get into some of the physicality in the second half. But we did again. Overall, we lacked belief in the system, maybe in the manager, and what we were trying to achieve, and it showed men against boys for the most part. And to be honest, in the ground, it was a long 45 minutes. There was a couple of opportunities like, oh, I thought that went in. Thank God that did go in. Like this one, holding on for dear life. And it did get better. Definitely did get better. It was again, yeah, long first half. I can't really say too much again. Madison was just picking up every spot that he wanted and playing in whoever he wanted. We were quite lucky. Brennan Johnson, Kulusevski wasn't playing. I think he would have done a number on us against Christensen. Brennan Johnson didn't really get on the ball in the position really. And in the second half, it started the same. We came out of the tunnel kind of timid, kind of like heads down a little bit. But we looked a lot better. For the first 10 minutes or so, we were playing pretty much the same way. We let them dominate. We had a little bit of possession, but it was similar. And then all of a sudden, we had a batch of play and we got belief. within the crowd, within the stadium, and that's the loudest I've heard the King Power in the Premier League for quite a while. We like the old school, don't we? We like the 4-4-2, hit it long. And when we started to get possession, and we used it to play round Tottenham at times, a 1-2, pass, ball out wide, and then we're trying something. And when it started to click, the crowd got behind, and there was just a moment where the jigsaw just clicked. And the crowd decided that we're going to be part of this. The team were going to be part of this. And we just got this load of belief that came around us. And it was complete. The team changed. The defense got more solid. James Justin was the back four as a unit. They're undroppable for that next game. And this is me absolutely loving Ricardo. Christensen, Vestergaard was running, was clearing balls off, was pushing in, I won't say into midfield, was in the formation. We saw this when we played against Man City. I think we lost 1-0. Or no, yeah, we lost 1-0 in that one. And we gave it a go towards the second half. And we played, it was him and Sionchu. I think Fast has some similarities with Sionchu. Fast didn't really put a foot wrong. A good 7 out of 10 performance, 8 out of 10 at times. Really good pressing where we needed to. He wasn't trying to play forward. He played back to Manson, and I think he played really well. Vestergaard for me was the highlight of that back line, of the two central defenders, I would say. Christensen, I was really impressed with his physicality, his ability to run. Once he was as when I think of Christensen's highlights and how he's played, it's him bombing down the wing. He was quite physical. He took his man quite well. He was at times when they were coming because they targeted at times that left hand side. Son and Madison were coming over to this left hand corner and trying to get the balls in for the goal. If you notice, Madison's goal actually appears when he's pushing further out, and then he's whipping a ball into Pedro Porro for the first goal. When that went in, the crowd just went, "Oh, here we go again. Is this returning?" We managed to get into half time, but yeah, for the first goal, Madison was popping up in a decent position. Pedro Porro was running across because the way they play, they push their wingers quite high and forward to get into those positions. And I think that's something I'd like to see us try with the likes of Pedro Porro in their team, but I'd like to see it with Ricardo. But I can show you how it works in the second team. But yeah, second half we got a lot more belief. There was we were a lot better. The forwards in general had a good game overall. Jamie Vardy was getting on the ball. Buonanotte has a. Oh, I'm really impressed with the lad. And from what I'm hearing, and from what people are saying, that they've been down the ground, they think he's the real deal. They really, really like him. And if you've not watched our video, go and watch the preview with Diego from South American, well, North America, South America Fox. He's from North America. It's got some roots in South America. And he goes into loads of detail on him, and you can see that this kid has got talent. He has the ability to, because Spurs swarm you and they push into you and they hold your positions up. And he had the ability to take on 2 or 3 players at a time and just nip it past them, or play a nice ball, play a 1-2. And this kid at 19 is going places. And I'm hoping that this makes us look more at, if we don't get him, and we're already falling in love with the lone player again, and there's no option of buying this one. We need to be looking at that South American market. If there's gems like them out there, there is no excuse, because if he's coming to the squad and he's shown that, and we did do some scouting in South America, and so far we haven't made any South American signs. Yes, we got him on loan, but it's from Brighton, and he's probably going to be a Brighton player. They're probably going to send him back in a better shape than we've got him because of the amount of games he's going to play majority of games. He looks like a real talent, and people around me are saying, "Oh, he's good, isn't he? He's really good." He's not that tall physically, but he's got a good physical presence to him. And I think that's just from practice of playing in the Premier League. Giving him that freedom, him and Fatawu, him and Vardy, I can see having a really good relationship with one another. Fatawu didn't really get into the game as much as he did, and that's totally fine. The kid has got years ahead of him and will develop into a monster if we keep playing him. I think he's got to look at somebody like a Doku from Man City. And I know, yes, they play in a different way. And I think in a similar frame, similar kind of physicality, he's got to look at what he does for Man City and go, I can do that for a team as well. the physicality, the pace, the different positions he can play all along the front line. Is monster of a left foot. He didn't realise how powerful it is. I think a couple of times he had some balls, he cut in and he whipped it, and not slating him too much. And I just saw Reed just going and trying to pelt it because the ball didn't even cross into the box. The one time it did was for the goal, which we'll get into in a second. And Reed's like, "Oh, crack, that's gone over here. I'm off for a jog." I was in the second half. It just changed. Like we were getting into some good positions. Harry Winks was getting a lot more on the ball and dictating play. Tottenham didn't really know. It wasn't they didn't know what hit them. They were a bit taken aback because we were in the first half. We were so poor. We let them do what they want, and it showed. Look, when we get our formation together, when we get this team playing together, we play some good football. And I think a draw is a fair result for both teams. Tottenham should have been probably 2-3-0 up in that first half. Leicester should have potentially scored a second in the second half. It was a 1-1. I don't think too many people would disagree and say that's probably a fair result. There was moments because of the injury to the head injury, and it's bad because at the game when the opposition fans are going, "Get over here now," and the crowd just went silent. A little bit of banter. Tottenham fans in general, the away fans, are some of the poorest I've seen, and that's not me trying to slate Tottenham. We forgot that they were there. We even sang that to them. We forgot that you were here. And I'm not trying to slate all Tottenham fans. The fans that came at that ground, in my opinion, we didn't hear them at all. And the King Power can get dominated by the away fans, and anybody that's been down to the King Power knows that. If the away fans show up, and bearing in mind it's a Monday night football, it's on TV, the camera crews are there. We didn't really hear them that much. We heard them with the goal, but with Leicester, after about 60 minutes, the Union FS boys, the singing section, the part of that stand next to them, and the cop kept singing, kept chanting, kept getting behind the team, and we just kept it going. There was a lovely memorial to Craig Shakespeare. Am I sounding too picky? I would have loved like a highlight reel on the telly. There was just a massive. There was a sign that pulled up, and rightfully so for what he's done, and a lovely sign from the UniFS and the singing section again, with Craig Shakespeare, and I think it's a really nice minute's worth of applause, etc. From that, and obviously for what he's done as a manager, from what he's done as a player, sorry, as a player, as a vice captain, two ball shaky and everything. He's been here, he knows it. So again, it was a nice end off. I would have loved to see like a minutes or 2 minutes highlight of Craig Shakespeare on the telly, both as a manager and as an assistant manager, because he's done wonders for this club. And he came back with Dean Smith, and he said Dean Hammond, then different player. Dean Smith, and yeah, he wasn't enough to save us, but he gave it a go. He didn't care. He didn't want to ruin his legacy. He didn't care about ruining his legacy. Try and help this football club. So yeah, another bit on that, and just a couple of bits I want to mention. In terms of some of the bits I want to mention. Again, there's lots of positives. There are some negatives I want to mention. The pairing at set pieces. We in the first 10 minutes we were atrocious. we were bad. And this is some areas that I really want us to work on. First, from marking at set pieces. Solanke was marked by D called over Reed. Who made that decision? Because he's probably one of their greatest aerial threats. And I think if they had a better header on the ball, and again, he is good, but he's not had a lot of time to train with them. If he was in finer form, we would have conceded a lot more. He had some great opportunities. And then when we went to attack set pieces, Fatawu was on Solanke. For me, it doesn't make any sense. That's an area that I really want to work on. Another bit that I want to work on as well, how we close down, how we press. We don't, maybe it's getting used to Enzo, but I think this is the way that we need to do it. You need to press as a team. We were pressing as individuals. Especially in that first half, it was going to be somebody creative. It was probably going to be somewhere from a Fatawu trying to get the ball and dribble round. You've got Buonanotte trying to create something out of nothing. And in the second half, when it came to the pressing, I wasn't impressed. Overall, we did the job at the end of the day. But again, to take this to the next level, I want to see us press as a unit. And if one person goes there, one person goes there, one person, and we would press. Because it seems like the ball would go that way. Oh, do you want to get him? Yeah. I'll go get him. Okay, the ball's come across. I'll go get this one. We did. It was all individuals, and maybe that's part of Steve Cooper's way. He's like, well, I just want a 4-4-2 and to hold it and then absorb the pressure. But if we want to take this to the next level, and maybe we don't need to, maybe we just need to stay safe this season. But in order to improve on this, I think we need to improve on that element of it. The pressing again, the set pieces in the first 10 minutes were borderline atrocious. They were winning everything, and it was not good. I can tell you what was good though. We made some substitutions with Endo. It felt like before the game had kicked off, and depending on how we played, we knew what subs we were going to make at what time. In this game, we were being proactive, reactive, and a bit proactive as well. Um, when we made the substitution again, Jamie Vardy came. Well, let's get into the goal first. Really, really well worked goal. Another example of again, ball coming across. Christensen butts a ball straight across to no one. But again, if Jamie Vardy is there, or if we've got a second strike or something that's arriving in the box later, that ball's going in the back of the net. Frost everybody, go to Fatawu. Fatawu then gets the ball, chips it across to Vardy, and Vardy slots it into the back of the net. And it was pandemonium when that went in. I wouldn't say it was completely against the run of play because that would have been a goal in the first half. But we're starting to build into the game, and that just belief clicked into the players. Do you know what? We are not a championship side anymore. We're a Premier League side, and we're here to compete. Not for the top four, but we are good enough to compete with Tottenham, and that was missing, really missing. They've got belief both in the crowd and the team, and maybe even in the manager, and it maybe will give them some bits to get better at. The forwards in general had a good game. I think D Cordova-Reid went a little bit missing. I don't blame him too much. Want to get some other bits. We used 3 subs, and again, this was before I got again. You know me now, and I'll go on different tangents. Before Endo Maresca would use 1 sub, and maybe that would be it, or maybe 2. And it'd be like the same tactical change, kind of twist it up. Here, we decide to bring on again Mavididi into this position, into centre midfield. We bring on Samore, who's apparently again impressed in training, is one of the bright people. To see out the game, and took Ndidi off because I think Ndidi again, not to slate him too much, he get some really good defensive work, but in defense, in attack, the Ndidi's not that guy. And especially in this formation, he's given the number 6 role, and that's his role. You give the ball to him, he firefights, and his role in his opportunity is play that double pivot, give it to Harry Winks, and Harry Winks does the magic. And I think that's how we have to play. Coming back to this formation and how we had before, so let me just get this up. If we're going to play something like this going forward, Buonanotte, we've got Ndidi, or maybe again, if a skip comes into the team, Reed, Fatawu, let's put them up top. Again, they weren't pushed super wide like they were under Enzo. They're more coming into these traditional winger positions. And before, when it was like Fatal, we used to come super out wide when we had positions, try and stretch the pitch as much as possible. Then he would either again got the opportunity to go on the outside, or then cut in and shoot. He's playing more of like a holding this position at the moment. How I would get this team going forward again, and if we're going to make somebody, say for example, we've got this because again, Skip signed. So again, if we are playing another team this time, in my opinion, Skip will probably start. This is how I'd set up. I'd play Ndidi as the holding midfielder on his own, and then one of these two would drop in and play that role alongside him. Probably again Harry Winks, and then you've got runners. So, for example, Winks, I think, in my opinion, will be a player that's going to play alongside Ndidi. He just needs to firefight, get the ball, and then give it over to one of these two. That's going to then go right for the link-up play to shoot to give it over. Also, I mentioned how to get the best out of Ricardo in the situation. I think we could play Ricardo here. And I think he's so versatile. This is a formation because I think this back four doesn't change against Fulham. Ndidi playing that role as a firefighter. You could potentially even play a double pivot of Winks and Ricardo as well if there is an injury to Ndidi. But I think Ricardo could then play in this position. I think he could link up well with Fatau. I think we saw a couple of times, not a little bit of what Enzo did, where Fatau would run into this position, get on this way, and Ndidi would come in. Fatau would come in here, and then Ndidi would come on the overlap. I think there was one time where he tried to cross it over, and Vardy was in a really, really good position around here, and then Ndidi just smacks it into the corner of the net. We're thinking, come on, man, we've seen this before. But yeah, so again, this is how I think Ricardo could fit into this formation. Was I glad he didn't come on? I don't think we needed him for that game. But I think if we're going to get the best out of Ndidi, he just needs to get the ball, firefight, and then give it short to a Ricardo, a Winks, a Skip, a Buonanotte. Buonanotte will play higher up, in my opinion. But like a Skip and Winks, I think this is how Ndidi could work quite well. Doesn't mean that he plays a single pivot all the time, because I know they'll close him down, which is probably why Winks and Skip will probably drop in a little bit, and then you've got balls over the top. But in the second half, again, we changed it up a little bit. We changed Vardy from Mavididi for a straight swap. We also changed D Reed for McAteer. So for this one, what the advantage, I'll give that. And then these fresh legs really helped. Let me put in Samore as well. That's Samore. Surely that should be a chant going forward. And then we played in Diddy. Who else came off for this one? So the McAteer. And then this was, I think, I can't remember who came off for this one. I'll have to have a look. Hold on. Substitute again. Okoli didn't get a shout. Buonanotte, Reed, and Vardy. Who came off? What have I got on? Buonanotte, Reed, and Vardy. Anyway, so I've got a little bit lost with the formations and who that was. But yeah, overall, again, looking at this one, I'm trying to think. Vardy from Stephen Mavididi, Buonanotte for Samore, Bobby Reed again. So I've substituted Bobby Reed for this one. Yeah, so I've done that. Done it correct. Even though there's an extra player on the pitch. I can't figure out who it was overall. But coming into this, again, this is a formation I think that we could be happy with and how we're playing. And when they came on, the likes of Mavididi, Casey McAteer, that fresh energy really helped the team. Because we're going to try and see out the game, but we're going to need that physicality. Samori didn't notice too much, in my opinion. He looks like Ndidi, but even bigger. Maybe Ndidi didn't get substituted. Maybe I'm making that up. No, he didn't get substituted. That's what it was missing from it. He was substituted for Buonanotte. So Ndidi was still playing. With that and the formation and how we were playing, we got a lot more physicality from set pieces. Mavididi's a tall player. Casey McAteer is not particular. I think he's at 5'11". But Samore gives you that physicality, and I think from set pieces we looked more threatening. And then finally for that last, again, for another bit as well, just to show you again, Jamie Vardy has still got it. Didn't have a lot of touch in the first half. Linked up really well with some play in the second half. And I think he's a player that's going to really thrive under Cooper. Then coming into another bit I want to mention, we were able to clear our lines when, and this is so simple, but I think it was needed. At times when we had a ball, we brought people back, and it's something that Enzo did before. We brought everybody back, and the ball would go out to the corner, and somebody would hit it, and then they'd look up, they knew nothing's on, and they'd just hit it. And I'm like, fair enough. Proper old school football. I don't mind it. If there is nothing on, don't be trying to play out from the back. Just clear your lines. And the simplicity of that, the players understand, and it just works. But yeah, Vestergaard stepped up second half, Fast stepped up second half. James Justin with some vital tackles. I think he managed Son quite well. I don't think Son was at his first level, but I think he managed him quite well. Christensen went up another level. Christensen for me was a really good player. That backline in general did really, really well. But I really enjoyed Christian's performance. And I think at the back four, I would say he was favourite. They were all great. Fast was really good. The team looked like they gelled a little bit more, which was really, really great. And we looked a lot more compact. Vardy, for when he had that second opportunity, it was a really good save by Vazario, to be honest with you. And Vardy was pissed. That's how you know that Vardy's not ready. But Vardy's ready for this league. He's ready for this year. He's had, if you notice, there's clips going around Twitter. He's necking a can of Red Bull at second half. Don't change. Again, if you do that and keep scoring, we're happy. He was so frustrated he missed that second opportunity. He's so frustrated. He got there, saw the ball, pissed and just boot it into the stands. Just that frustration. And that shows me that he's raring. One is not enough. He wants more. I think he can get 12 goals this season, to be honest with you. 12 goals for Jamie Vardy, I think, is good. couple of things to mention. The close, yeah, pressing down and pressing I've mentioned, clearing the lines, Vardy takes an opportunity. I've missed both those. But yeah, the formation of how we're playing will change over time. However, I think it's a good formation to play against this squad. If we were to play this again at Man City, or a stronger team, I'm not saying that Tottenham aren't a strong team. They are a good to great Premier League team at this moment in time. But if they are firing all cylinders and they are playing the full Ange ball, Postecoglou ball, we don't win that game. But we deserve a point out of this game. And we can't help how the opposition set up against us or how they decide to have an off day. Not our problem. And there was a clip afterwards. I'll see if I can find actually a picture. Ange is a really just seems like a really chill, nice down to earth dude. And part of that, let me see if I can find it. There was just pictures of afterwards. I went to meet some fans. I don't know if you can see that. No, this resolution's terrible. It's the opposition fan bus. And this is probably something. I don't know if you could say that. There's Ange just sitting on the bus doing tactics. If you could just see that if you just see that, just sitting there, no other players on the bus, and he's just trying to figure out what went wrong. He's got his little tactic, like little draft pieces, magnetic draft pieces, and just trying to figure out what happened in the game in front of the fans. The opposite, the Tottenham fans, the Leicester fans. He's just sitting there, just going, okay, what went wrong? And from what I've heard, he just seems like a really nice dude. And he seems really down to earth. The fact that other managers wouldn't do that I thought was really good. I think coming into this is final thoughts. I think there's real positive to build on, especially in the second half. The team look like they got belief. This team can stay up. Again, I'll say it once again. Stop the count. We're 10th. End the season now. We'll take this before the points deduction comes and hits. But we need to get all the points we can at these beginning games. So yeah, and if you're not already, again, I've not managed to check them out because I didn't want them to didn't want that to influence their one. Anil and Luke has done a channel on Anil's channel, so click the link in the chat. There is in the description. There's Anil, and it's for Fox's Sake TV. Make sure you go and watch that video. Again, I won't be available for the next one, but I'm really happy with how the team performed. Apologies, I'm going to try, but things are super busy right now. Weekends are just chocked up. So I've not been able to report on as many games as I want. However, when I can, I will try and report on them. So again, hope you enjoyed this. I'll do another preview on how we're going to set up against a Fulham, because I think we'll play in a slightly different way. Even though I believe it'll probably be the same team. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, especially in the second half. We'll set up the same way against Tottenham. Hence Fulham, sorry, another London team going down to. So yes, that's a little bit from me. What are your thoughts? Leave in the comments down below. Again, make sure to check out Anil's and Luke's video, which is on Anil's channel. Which again, the reason why I shout him out so much, he's given so much to this channel. I'm so glad he's setting up his own channel. But yeah, I won't be going to a lot of games this season. I try and do like a game a month just because of price wise. To be honest with you, so yeah, that'll be down in the chat. Make sure you go and check them out. Like, subscribe. We are back for a season. We're off to a good start. Let's see if we can build on this. See you all in the next video. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. See you in a bit. Bye.